Paulito asks, elephant in the room, what is the more valuable asset? The number one pick in the, I'm assuming he means 2024 NBA draft.
Yeah.
DJ Wagner, the Bewley twins, Mikey Williams, or whatever pick it takes to get Bronny and then LeBron James. Would any GM use the first pick on Bronny just to get LeBron, who would be age 39 LeBron, or is that age 40 LeBron? That's age.
I'm not sure. Either way, though.
If it's the 2024 draft, that'll be age 40 LeBron. All right.
Yeah. It's difficult to answer because so much could change with Bronny, where right now, does it look like he's going to be an NBA superstar? Don't really know, but let's assume the worst. Let's assume that he is not a high-level college player, that he doesn't really belong in the NBA, because I think that's a more fundamentally interesting question. Is it worth drafting a player who isn't really going to crack your rotation so you can get one season of LeBron James? I think so, because ultimately, even with the number one pick, it's a crapshoot. Like you hope that you're getting a transcendent talent. You aren't always. Even those number one picks don't always pan out. So if you're telling me that what's likely a down in the dumps organization because they're landing the number one pick, like if it's the Sacramento Kings, if it's the Detroit Pistons, if it's a team, and I'm not trying to insult those fans or anything like that, but if it's a team that has struggled to put a high quality product on the floor and has thus struggled to put fans in seats, then yeah, it's worthwhile because you're guaranteeing something fun to follow, something potentially special, because you get to be the organization that has LeBron James wearing your uniform during his swan song. All the farewell tours, you're going to be on national TV time and time again, and putting yourself back on the map in a way that you're not going to with a marquee rookie. And in all likelihood, you're not going to be that much better, because LeBron is LeBron, who is just this phenomenal ageless talent who's still on the periphery of the MVP conversation when he should have been so much worse at this stage of his career, given the mileage that he's racked up. There's a chance that he's still going to be playing like an all-star as a 40-year-old, but is he going to be operating at a level where he can sign a minimum contract or whatever he does to get there, play with a raw, in this hypothetical, not NBA caliber talent who you're going to have to put on the floor to make it a worthwhile event for him? You're not going to be that much more competitive anyway. So you're likely going to be in the mix for the number one pick the next year as well. So I think it's worth pushing back a timeline, especially because it's an event that you would have planned around. If this is guaranteed to happen, you're not going to be operating as if it's a normal season. You're going to be considering this when you're re-signing young players, when you're evaluating the trade market, when you're evaluating free agents. This is a multi-year plan put into action. So I think regardless of how good Bronny is, if he's good, it becomes an easy decision. Even if he is not deserving of an NBA roster spot, I think you do it.
Not that high. It would be, because it's not even the way that LeBron is operated once he's there. It's not just thinking, you're talking about you might have the number one pick the next season if he's going to retire afterwards. No, you're gutting your future to maximize the roster around him in that year. And so I don't think
are you at that point? Because I don't know that it's about that to him if he's making that decision in his final season.
There's no way he's going to play in OKC just to play with Bronny and be on a bad team, is my point.
I don't know that I agree with that.
That would, like, no, it just,
I think at that point, he's basically acknowledging, like, yeah, my NBA career is basically over. I want this experience. I've earned this because I've put together this indelible legacy. I
can't imagine when GM jobs are so insecure, basketball front office jobs are so unstable, that you're going to burn a number one pick for 1 year of LeBron when it's even if it's just for profit, even if he's just willing to do it and you're able to keep your assets. Have you set your franchise back, or you're just like, you're just a gap year? So That high, no. If he, I don't know where he's supposed to rate in that class. If he is someone who does not deserve to be in the NBA, once you start getting to good teams that have picks or people that think they're 40-year-old LeBron away from winning something special, yeah, then I could see him. Let's say he's not. Let's just say he's not a first round caliber NBA prospect. I could see him going somewhere inside the lottery still. It would not be, if we're talking about teams that are bad, this is their chance to get like a cornerstone player. No, there I would be floored if any NBA GM of a team that was rebuilding thought in those lines. And if that
but
pick is made,
wouldn't be a GM driven pick. It would be an owner driven pick.
That it's still
or a governor driven pick, excuse me.
In a market, depending on the market that it is, you can't afford to do just a 1-year windfall only to then potentially set yourself back years because you use the number 1, 2, 3, 4 pick on someone who doesn't profile as a transcendent player or can anchor your team long term. Because what you've done also is, if 40-year-old LeBron's going to play, you've damaged your lottery chance. That's like there's not a winning scenario there to me. Either you get LeBron or you have to gut your future to maximize his time there, because I don't buy into this. Every stop he's been, Miami, Cleveland again.
But the motivation is so different.
Okay, but
because
so let's say but let's just hold on. Let's just say that they don't cut the roster. If 40-year-old LeBron is playing, you've made your team better and then therefore damaged your lottery chances or ability to recoup high draft equity after wasting a pick on, again, I don't know where Bronny's supposed to project, on someone who shouldn't be drafted in that spot.
But the premise here is that you're also giving minutes to Bronny, which essentially negates the impact of 40-year-old LeBron.
We're operating under the assumption that he wouldn't be worth the number 1 pick.
Right. But then you're still going to play him so that LeBron is playing with his son, and that is going to hold back your on-court success. So I don't think you rule out
LeBron. So you're telling me that you could still be one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in the league with LeBron James on your team.
You've watched the Lakers, right?
But seriously,
I have no idea, because that's still multiple years into the future, and declines come so quickly, even for the best players. So I just don't know. I think if he's still operating at an all NBA level, then I think that changes my answer. I don't know if he is.
I just feel like you're banking on a lot of he's going to go and be happy not to win or content not to win and not be good, or he's going to be good.
Yeah, I don't think the motivation is to win in that situation. I think that he's essentially throwing everything but the experience out the window.
So then you're just assuming that he's going to be bad, because any team that has LeBron is not going to be one of the 3 to 5 worst teams in the league.
Well, I'm assuming that any team that has 40-year-old LeBron might not be able to escape that fate.
You might have said the same thing about 37-year-old LeBron.
I might have said that.
Any front office, any team governor that thinks along that lines, the executive should be fired, or that owner should be forced to sell, because that's ass hattery to me at its highest form.
For what it's worth, I agree. I'm trying to put myself in that governor mind frame where I'm just trying to maximize profits for my organization. Were I in those shoes, I would not want to do that.